Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Psychic Medium Raymond Guzman, and today I'm going to be doing a celebrity psychic reading, mediumship reading on Miss Janis Joplin. This has been requested by a lot of my viewers and those of you that are, on my channel. So I wanted to take the time. This is a very remarkable woman. She contributed a lot to the music industry and paved the way. So those of you that are not familiar, that are maybe the younger generations now that are tuning in and you have never heard of Janis Joplin, she was a famous singer. She was known for her voice, and her style of music was more bluesy rock, infused, kind of that kind of music and sound. Some people would have referred to her as a hippie. Some people would have referred to her as being a carefree soul. But I'm going to try to give you a picture of what I get from messages from her soul, and where things went wrong, what happened really to her, because I think there's still a lot of questions around the family, that know her family, members that are still living, if there's anyone that's still living from her family, and then just people that were fans and that are still fans of Janis's music, that are listening, like the baby boomers and people that from the 60s and 70s that grew up to Janis's music. So immediately what I get from her soul is that she's telling me that she was not happy, wasn't happy with the way that the record companies were handling things, the people around her in the studio. You kind of see this, and I've done it with other celebrity artists when I get these messages that this is what comes across. She says that there was a lot of pain, a lot of heartache. I feel like she's saying that she loved someone, but it was unrequited love and that she went through. Um, and she also, deep down, I feel like she was holding back, suppressing a lot of her sexuality. I think a lot of people would be maybe shocked, or some people may not be shocked that she would have been potentially, a lesbian. I feel like there was some of this that she would have had in her that she didn't want to express, or she just didn't know how to come out, because she felt like there was a lot of fear around her career that it would impact it. You have to understand the time frame that back then when she was around was not the same as it is today. Yes, there was a lot of hippies, there was a lot of spiritual movement. Things were a lot different, but still things were not the same for women. Women didn't have the same equality as they do now today, and even now today there's still a lot of females that are still struggling, for empowerment, women's empowerment and rights, because in this world where there's a lot of male energy, it's kind of hard. But Janice was very much had a male energy to her soul, and I feel like in many ways this was projected out into her music. A lot of things happen in her early childhood years, for things from abuse, um, a lot of verbal, mental abuse. I don't feel like she got very well along with her mom and whatnot, and her family in general. She just didn't get along with people that, she grew up with. I feel like there was a lot of her wanting to do things her way and always kind of like challenging them. She didn't want them to have their way. Almost very stubborn, like she was very stubborn from a very, very early age. Um, but she did have a good soul. I do feel like she did have some feelings for a male, and she would have experimented and had sexual relationships with men. But ultimately, I do feel like her deepest and darkest secret that I'm getting from her soul is that she was ultimately a lesbian. And I know that that may be something that some people may debate with or may not understand, but I feel like in many ways she questioned herself, and she was trying to find who she really was and find her peace. And there's nothing wrong with being who you are authentically. I think she had a beautiful soul, she still does. And but there was a lot of things going on in her mind, and she turned to drugs, substances, and it kind of, shifted her mind. And a lot of the stuff that she would have done was to kind of like numb a lot of her inner pain, and also a lot of the pressure and work demands that were around her. She says that she was like a struggling artist when she first began, so I don't know if that's the case. I didn't grow up to her music. I was born in 1982, so this was a little bit way before my time, that she passed away. in the 70s. 1970, I believe, is when she passed. But um, yeah, I feel like, she went through a lot of different things, and she saw a lot of other people, especially males around her, having more success than her, and it didn't make her jealous per se, but it did. She knew that they were not promoting her. They weren't giving her the props that she would have. She would have been bigger than what she is known for now. She would have been way bigger back then had she had proper promotion, and people would have, she had hits, that were celebrated after her passing and whatnot, and even before her passing, she had some hits as well. But she's saying that, that she doesn't blame anyone around her. She knew that she had these inner demons that she was battling. Um, she does tell me she takes full responsibility for her passing. Um, that she didn't realize what she was doing to her health, to herself, and she had different periods. She says that she was looking at everything around her and how this wouldn't have been her first overdose. I get that she would have had something before several times, and it would have affected her health. She didn't have a good heart. I feel like her heart wasn't working properly, and also other functions like her liver, the enzymes in the liver. And I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose it. This is what I'm getting from her soul from spirit, my spirit guides as well. um and mentally, she was going through some stuff, there. And I think her mom also went through mental depression, and there were some. I feel like Janice was very much like bipolar. That's what she's making me feel, very much bipolar. And when you're bipolar and plagued with depression, and you combine all of those things together, and then anything that you're holding on to, like her secret of like feeling like she was in the closet. um Maybe some of the closest people to her knew that, her secret, but I don't think a lot of people knew. It didn't come out, but a lot of people speculated that she could be, um, and she had feelings for females. But I do get that, she just was very, very conflicted. There was like this. Um, she's showing me a dog, so I don't know. She had a puppy at one time, and she's also showing me drawings. Like she, I'm trying to make this out what it's coming through. She's showing me mushrooms. I don't know if she experimented with mushrooms or if that's part of a psychedelic drug or whatnot. But she's showing me pictures of mushrooms. I'm feeling almost like she had something in her, like maybe like a picture or something, an item that had mushrooms printed on with peace signs. There's a lot of that being shown, like the 1960s and 70s. Those that artwork. I'm getting a lot of that around her. Also getting. I'm trying to make this out. How it's coming through. 70. Um, so I don't know why she's showing me 1970. That could have been, when she passed. But I get 1970. There's also something about a P, the letter P, PL. Those initials stand out very strong, PL. So I don't know if this was someone that she knew, but I'm getting that completely. And she's showing me a lot of different things from her, her time period. She's saying that she had a lot of connection to Mother Earth. So I'm getting that she was almost very much into, open to like spirituality, connecting. She was very advanced for her time period. I feel like she was very much advanced and knew how to find some peace at certain times before, things got very hectic in her music. I feel like before her music, before she started getting heavily in it and turning to substances, she did have a lot of connection and love for being out in nature. And she, even when she would perform, she would like to be out in nature a lot. That's what she's telling me. I'm also getting that she wasn't happy with her physical body. So I feel like she feels like she wasn't feminine enough, or they tried to change her image in some way. But she keeps showing me and saying her physical body, like she didn't really feel like she was beautiful enough in certain ways, and she wasn't the girly type. She was more of the, like I'm saying, the masculine energy coming through. Very much the person that, wants to kind of, portray a stronger image. she says that she didn't like dresses. So I don't know Janice, or her history. Like I said, so only people that would know her or that were diehard fans would know. But she's saying she hated dresses completely, and that was something that she would not have wanted to be in. Um, she was all about, pants and shirts and hats. She loved hats and crazy glasses. She loved to express herself in a very like artiste type of, fashion, very bohemian, is what she's saying. She's saying that she had some spiritual journeys. So when she was on psychedelics or opioids, whatever she was taking, with whether this was heroin or whatnot, there was a lot of speculation onto what, she was on alcohol and heroin or opioids. But what she is telling me is that she had seen the other side before. So she would have had like a near death experience beforehand, or like a spiritual journey, like when people, sometimes take in the Native Americans spiritual journeys, they give them, little increments of mushrooms or whatever, to go on this journey. Some people call it LSD, or I don't know. I'm not familiar with substances, so I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But she does keep showing me a lot of mushrooms and stuff. So I do feel she's telling me that she did take a spiritual journey and she did see the other side, and she never felt like she was really going to live a long, long life. She knew more so than anyone else, like her soul knew that she was going to pass at a very young age. And I believe she passed in her 20s. I could be wrong, but I feel like I can't remember, exactly, but she passed before her time. That's something I feel like, she we have different exit points in our soul where we can leave at certain times. You can have a near death experience and just decide to die and, cross over at that time. But you can also choose to come back and continue to live and continue to, choose another exit point for your soul. But with her, she's telling me what she really wanted was a sacred love. She was looking for a sacred union. She was looking for a soulmate, and she doesn't feel like she found it here on Earth, when she was here alive. And that's what I get, a lot of heartache, a lot of pain, unrequited love. There was someone that she really loved, but the love wasn't reciprocated at all. Um, this did send her into, her creative mode for writing and singing songs and putting all her passion and emotions into it. And she says that she had different periods, so she kind of like emerged in her style of music, displayed this evolution of her over time. She does say that she is, her dreams didn't get to be completed. She makes me feel like she had other dreams as well to go further in the music industry. She wanted to collaborate with other artists as well. She had a lot of dreams and a lot of plans. Um, when it gets into her passing, I think this is the biggest question. Did she overdose? It's very weird how this comes in, because I feel like in the vascular system, she didn't have a very strong vascular system. The right side of my head is hurting when I tune into her. So she would have fallen off of wherever she was at. She was in a room. She would have fallen to her right side. I keep seeing on her right side, laying on the floor by a bed. So I don't know where she was found exactly, but I'm seeing a room and I'm seeing a bed, and I'm seeing that she would have been on I guess the way it looks to me is on the right side of the bed. If you're standing in front, well, no, if you're standing in front of it, it's the left side. But if you're laying down in the bed, it's on the right side. So I guess if you're standing in the room, it would be on the left side of the bed, on the floor, and on her right side. I keep feeling a lot of pain in my head. I also feel like in her throat, like I feel pressure on my throat. So I feel like she couldn't, I don't know. I feel like, when this comes in from her, I feel like foul play. I really, really do when it comes to Janice. I don't feel like she was even though she was depressed, she wasn't the suicidal type to purposely take her life. So I'm ruling out suicide. I don't see that this would have been a suicide for her. Um, I almost get the feeling like when someone is being, cut oxygen. So like she didn't have a lot of air. in her. I do feel like she was in she did have alcohol in her system, definitely. I get that feeling where she's kind of like out of it, like kind of woozy, that kind of feeling. There was substances definitely in her system as well that were self-administered, um, whether this was heroin or some other kind of drug. Um, I don't feel like though it was a big enough quantity to be toxic, like they're saying, or like the way that they projected it to the media. There's a lot of cover-ups when it comes to celebrity passings, that people that are in the record industry, these people, they cover it up. I'm getting with her that there was somebody else in the room. There would have been someone else. Um, and it feels like a male energy the way it comes in. And again, I hate to say this, but I'm very truthful when it comes to these readings and whatnot. I feel strangulation. I just feel it on my neck. I feel like when someone, cuts your air out, and I can't, sit here and kind of like go with what is been published in the media, in the social media, if I don't feel like it's correct, and that's not what I'm getting from her soul, and that's not what I'm getting from my visions and what I feel here. And the male would have been someone in his, I want to say in his 40s, maybe late 30s. He had a mustache, he had sideburns, brownish hair, and he was dressed in blue jeans, like bell bottoms, and he had a white shirt, and he had a blue shirt on, long shirt as well, long sleeves. I want to say it was denim. He was like dressed all in denim, um, and he had brown shoes on as well, boots. That's what I'm getting. There was an argument. There was something that was going on. She wasn't in a good state of mind. Um, and there was some kind of argument, and I feel like this led to a big fight. So she would have had some kind of fight with someone. This could have been someone that was interested in her, and that she wasn't interested in because of her sexuality and all the other things that she was going through. But there was some argument that she would have had and a falling out with some people. A lot of things are documented. Yes, they're documented about these artists, but like I said, a lot of the things are cover-ups. A lot of things are to hold back things that so other people won't know. But again, my throat is hurting me very bad when I tune into Janis, which in my case, when it hurts like that bad, it feels like there's some kind of trauma that would have been taken place in on the throat area. So whether or not this was documented in the autopsy report or by the, there's like a lot of people can be paid off, and cover up things. But again, this is what I get from her soul. So she is at peace. I don't feel like she's earthbound. She does take responsibility, like I said in the beginning, for her passing, not because this person would have she would have allowed it, but because she knew more or less that what she's saying that to me, that if she wouldn't have been in an inebriated kind of state of mind and with substances, that she would have been able to escape this situation, and she wouldn't have responded the way that she did. I feel like she was in a, when you take substances and stuff, you kind of like can get kind of, I guess, she's telling me you can get kind of like angry, upset, and be like in an altered state of mind. So this is very much so like what I get, that there would have been that going on. And a lot of people would be saying, well, maybe we didn't see anyone go into her room. This guy could have been already in one of the other rooms in the hotel, and something, about the investigation that was covered up, they didn't catch. Wherever she was at, I feel like it was like a room. But that's what I get from it, and I can't. But she doesn't want anyone to be angry. She wants people to be at peace. She's at peace. I also feel like this male has died already, several years ago. So I don't feel like he's living at all, whoever this person that did this to her, completely. But he is not with her in the spirit realm. He's in a very other different place. But yeah, I do get that there was a lot of questions around her passing, a lot of truths that were covered up. How she passed, again, I don't feel like it's exactly the way that they're saying it. It wasn't accidental. It wasn't an overdose either. So it was strangulation. That's what I'm getting. There was an altercation. There was something that was going on there, that is not said, but she's at peace, and that's what everybody needs to know. Anybody that was a fan, her family members, that maybe, or her bloodline, whoever's still an ancestor from her that's alive, that, she is okay. That's what they need to know. But she'll always be remembered for her music, and I feel like she tells a story in her songs. When you listen to her music, you can hear the soul, and her soul was a pure soul. It was a good soul. A lot of the people that are come to earth, that as spiritual people that are destined to make changes and stuff, they have a hard time coping with this reality, this you know 3D dimension, the third dimension that we're in right now, in that state of consciousness. And I feel like she was, uh, ready to go back home. She was just tired. She was tired of everything, everyone, and that's how she dealt with it. Kind of like when sometimes you go into an altered state with drugs and whatnot, it can shift you into different dimensions. And I feel like that's what she was connecting to when she was in this kind of state, like almost like in the fifth, sixth, the fourth and fifth dimension. So she was, already connecting to the other side, especially if she also had like a near-death experience beforehand, where she had episodes of maybe overdosing. But that's what I got. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Um, and if you haven't picked up a copy of my new book, it's called Starseed Footsteps. You can order one from my website, and it's a book that talks about spiritual topics like what happens when we die, to crystals, to magic, to how to know if you're a natural born witch. And I cover all kinds of questions in depth. And so it's like a neat little book. It's about 176 pages long, but it has a plethora of topics and information. So if you want to get an autographed copy, you can order that from my website, or you can order it from Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. Also, be sure to check out my other celebrity psychic readings. There's about 105 readings or so that I've done. A lot of people have requested for me to do like Selena Gomez. I've already done hers. She's like number 70 on my playlist that I've already done. Some people have asked for Cardi B. I've done that. For Nicki Minaj, I've done her. I've done a lot of celebrity readings. So if you haven't had a chance to binge watch my YouTube channel, check out those. Check out my Tea with Spirit show. It is season 1, and I'm on episode 8. So check out previous episodes of that. Also, be sure to check out my spiritual development videos. I have some when I first started my YouTube channel. I did a lot of spiritual development videos. So if you have questions about spirituality and, how to know if you're psychic, stuff like that, check that out. So blessings and love and light. Have an amazing day.